Look at this dust. It's everywhere, on your shelves, on your table, even in the air you're breathing right now. And you've probably heard one creepy fact that gives you goosebumps. They say the dust in your home is mostly you. That's right, supposedly your skin is constantly shedding and turning into that very dust. Not just a little bit, a full 90%. 90! So when you vacuum your apartment, you're essentially collecting yourself? Everyone repeats this truth. Friends, teachers, bloggers, even some books. This fact spreads across the internet like a virus, racking up millions of views and likes. But wait, what if it's not true? What if we've all been fooled? Today we're going to figure this out once and for all. Is it a myth or reality? We'll peek into dusty corners you've never even thought about. We'll break down scientific studies and find out where this belief even came from. This concerns every person on the planet because dust is in every home. Dust will stand trial before science and we'll deliver the final verdict. We'll arm ourselves with microscopes, scientific data, and common sense. Get ready, there are many unexpected discoveries ahead. Buckle up because the answer will surprise you. So let's begin our investigation. First question, where did this myth even come from? To find the roots of this myth, we need to go back to the 1980s. That's when popular science TV shows started featuring shocking facts about dust. It's believed that one of the first people to state this figure was a popular science communicator in his book. Newspapers picked up the story and it started spreading around the world. Like a snowball, this fact rolled from one source to another, picking up details along the way. In the 90s, teachers were already telling students about this in biology class as a proven fact. And with the advent of the internet, the myth got a second life. Fun fact websites popped up like mushrooms. That information was copied from site to site without any verification. Nobody checked the original source. Like a game of telephone, with each retelling, the fact became more and more exaggerated. From a modest scientific observation, it turned into a scary claim that everyone believed without question. In the 2000s, the myth became cemented in popular books full of amazing facts about everything. Readers were amazed. Wow, 90%? That's disgusting. And immediately told their friends. Facts like these are perfect for parties. They shock, surprise, and make everyone say, ew. Social media finished the job. The myth became truly viral. So the story traveled from one book to a global misconception in just a few decades. But there was another factor. Cleaning product manufacturers were very interested in spreading this myth. Think about it. Your dust is dead skin. Sounds like the perfect advertising slogan for a vacuum cleaner. Coincidence? Maybe, but the cleaning industry certainly wasn't rushing to debunk this myth. Because the scarier dust seems, the more people buy cleaning products. Fear marketing is a powerful tool, and the dust myth fit perfectly into this strategy. Advertisers knew, disgust sells, and dust from your skin is pure disgust. Magazines, TV shows, websites, everyone picked up this fact because it triggered a strong emotional reaction. But let's look at what's behind this myth. Let's start with the real numbers about skin. A person does indeed lose 1 to 1.5 grams of skin per day. That's a scientific fact. Over a year, that adds up to about half a kilogram, like a small bag of flour. And people drew a simple but incorrect conclusion. Since skin sheds, all dust must be skin. The logical chain seemed flawless. Skin falls, dust is on the floor, so dust must be skin. But this is a classic logical fallacy. Correlation does not mean causation. Nevertheless, the myth became so widely accepted that people almost stopped questioning it. So now we know where the myth came from. But let's be fair, there are arguments that support it. So let's look at the arguments in favor of this claim. And we have to admit, they sound convincing. Argument number 1. Our skin is a real cell factory, and the cells are constantly renewing. Every hour, our body loses about 600,000 skin particles. Every hour! In a day, that adds up to 1 to 1.5 grams. Sounds like a little, but let's do the math. 600,000 particles per hour, multiplied by 24 hours, that's over 14 million particles per day. These particles land on clothing, bedding, furniture, and of course on the floor. Your bed is a real hotbed of dead skin cells. Every night you leave millions of particles there. And who feeds on all these particles? Dust mites. These microscopic creatures love dead skin. Dust mites literally feast on our dead cells. For them, it's a delicacy. A single mattress can house up to 2 million dust mites, and they all feed on your skin. If you fluff a pillow, a cloud of skin cells and mite waste products products rises into the air. Dermatologists confirm the skin renewal process is a continuous cycle that never stops. New cells are born in the deep layers of skin, rise to the surface, and shed as they die. The full skin renewal cycle takes 27 to 30 days. Every month you literally get new skin. If you rub your hand, you can see tiny rolls. Those are the very dead cells. Over a lifetime, a person sheds about 35 to 40 kilograms of skin. That's the weight of a small child. All these particles have to go somewhere, and it's logical to assume they settle on surfaces in the home. If you examine the contents of a vacuum cleaner bag, you can indeed find skin cells there. In an office where dozens of people work, the amount of dead skin cells in the dust is even higher. A family of 4 produces even more skin particles. More people, more cells. And if you have pets, add cat or dog fur and dander to the mix. If you seal a room and don't enter it for a week, dust will still appear, and part of it is indeed skin. By the way, dust allergies are among the most common in the world, and skin cells play their part in this. Allergists confirm dust allergy is most often a reaction to the waste products of mites that feed specifically on skin. Under a microscope, skin flakes are indeed visible in samples of household dust. This is not fiction. Some studies even show that under certain conditions, skin can make up a noticeable portion of dust. Scientists from several universities studied the composition of household dust and confirmed the presence of human cells. In laboratory conditions, scientists managed to extract DNA of the home's residents from dust samples. Yes, skin cells are present in dust. That's a fact. But here's the question, are there really 90% of them? And this is where it gets really interesting, because science says something completely different, and now the argument's against. And believe me, they blow this myth to smithereens. The first thing any scientist who studies dust will tell you, it is incredibly diverse. If you look at dust under an electron microscope, you'll see a whole zoo of particles. The real composition of household dust: textile fibers, soil minerals, pollen, food particles, paper fibers, and only a small fraction of skin. The biggest component of dust is textile fibers. Your clothing, upholstery, carpets, they all constantly shed tiny fibers. Every time you move, your clothing releases thousands of microscopic threads into the air. The second major source of dust is what comes from outside: pollen, dirt, exhaust fumes, industrial particles. Soil particles, pollen grains, and air pollution, they all infiltrate our homes through windows and doors. And here's a completely unexpected fact. Volcanic ash can travel thousands of kilometers and settle in your home. Sand from the Sahara regularly crosses the Atlantic Ocean and reaches the Americas. Some of that sand ends up in your dust. Every year, hundreds of millions of tons of Saharan sand rise into the air and spread around the world. And here's something else mind-blowing. Some dust comes to us from outer space. Yes, from actual outer space. Every day, about 40 tons of cosmic dust falls to Earth. Tiny particles from meteorites and asteroids. Researchers from different countries studied dust composition in thousands of homes, and not a single study confirmed the 90% figure. According to real studies, skin cells make up only 1 to 10% of household dust. Not 90, 1 to 10. Cooking particles, oil droplets, starch, spices also contribute to the dust in your kitchen. Even candles and fireplaces add soot and smoke particles to the air, which settle on surfaces. Paper fibers from books, tissues, and cardboard boxes, another component that few people think about. Insect fragments, wings, legs, chitin scales are also part of household dust. If you imagine dust as a cocktail, skin is just one small drop in a large glass. Scientists who specialize in dust research say unequivocally, the proportion of skin in dust is greatly exaggerated. 90% isn't just an error, it's an exaggeration of 9 to 90 times. Here's a killer argument. In abandoned houses where no one has lived for years, there's plenty of dust. Where would the skin come from? Empty offices, shut down for quarantine, get covered in dust within days, without a single person inside. Caves, where humans rarely go, also contain dust. This proves that dust is not just skin. There's plenty of dust on Mars, and there's definitely not a single person there whose skin could shed. Lunar dust covers the entire surface of the moon. It existed for billions of years before humans appeared. Moreover, most dead skin cells are washed away by water when we bathe or take a shower. These cells go down the drain, not into the air. Water treatment plants filter them out. Scientists calculated, most of the skin we lose goes away with water, not into dust. The washing machine also washes skin from clothes, another route where cells disappear without becoming dust. So the myth says 90% skin. Science responds 1 to 10. The difference is colossal. Environmental agencies and research institutes worldwide study indoor air quality. Modern sensors allow us to precisely determine the composition of every speck of dust in your home. Dust composition depends heavily on where you live. In rural areas, there's more soil and pollen. In cities, more pollution and fibers. In coastal homes, you can find sea salt crystals and sand grains from the beach in the dust. And in apartments near highways, dust contains tire rubber particles and exhaust residue. Dust is a kind of environmental fingerprint. It tells the story of the place where you live. If you line up all dust components, skin cells would be far from first place. The 90% myth is like a soap bubble. Pretty, but poke it with science and it pops. Dozens of peer-reviewed scientific papers unequivocally refute this figure. So the evidence has been gathered. It's time to deliver the final verdict. The moment of truth. Drumroll, please. Dust is 90% human skin. That's a myth. A definitive 100% scientifically confirmed myth. The 90% figure has not a single scientific basis. Zero. None whatsoever. In reality, dust is a complex mixture of dozens of different components. Skin cells are present, but they make up only 1 to 10% depending on conditions. So you can stop being afraid of dust as your own remains. It's mostly textiles, minerals, and pollen. Now you know the truth, and next time someone mentions 90% skin, you can correct them. Another myth debunked, another misconception sent to the dustbin of history. You can breathe a sigh of relief. Your home is not 90% covered in you. Let's sum it up. Skin is in dust, that's a fact. 90%, that's fiction. Dust is a microcosm of our world. It contains everything from clothing fibers to cosmic particles. So clean your home not out of fear of your own skin, but simply for cleanliness and health. The myth fades into the shadows, and the truth shines with the bright light of science. But wait, don't switch away, because we have a bonus fact that will definitely surprise you. A twist you didn't see coming. There is one place where the skin and dust myth is closer to reality than you think, and that place is the International Space Station. On the ISS, there are no open windows, no wind, no soil, no pollen. The only significant source of particles is the astronauts themselves. In zero gravity, skin particles don't fall to the floor, but float freely in the air, and astronauts have to catch them. A special air filtration system on the ISS works around the clock, capturing these particles, including skin cells. And here's the paradox. In space, the proportion of skin cells in dust is indeed significantly higher than on Earth, because there simply aren't other sources of dust there. Imagine, you sneeze in zero gravity and millions of particles fly in every direction, never falling down. Incredible, right? The myth doesn't work on Earth, but almost works in space. On Earth, 1 to 10% skin and dust. On the ISS, many times more because there's no competition from earthly dust sources. So if you ever fly to space, know this. This myth is much closer to the truth. If you enjoyed this video, support us with a subscription and hit the bell so you don't miss new investigations. Hit the like button if you learned something new today. It really helps the channel. Write in the comments, which myth do you want us to investigate next? And in the meantime, check out our other videos. Many more amazing discoveries await you. Myth or reality? We investigate so you know the truth. See you in the next episode.